We just got two massive hints that the New York Jets are close to adding one of the final major pieces to the coaching staff. We'll talk about it, and we have a special international guest. Boy Green Daily starts now.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Lesden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. People, like the video, hit subscribe, and I tell you that I bring star guests on the show. Look at this week as an example. ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler, former NFL Network host Lindsey Rhodes joined us here on the show. Yesterday, Rich Cimini of ESPN joined the show for the first time in like 7 years. And those were all great, so make sure you check all those out. Those are all in my live section. You check out all those interviews. I highly recommend them. They're all great. And now we bring on the best guest of them all, baby. Hop on Pop. Paul Lesden Sr. from Abu Dhabi joins us here on the program.
Hey now, how's it going over there in the U.S. of A.?
Yeah, there you go. So tell us if you can, I guess, for security reason, what specifically, where are you at?
I am in Abu Dhabi, in one of the Conrad Hotel, I can't pronounce it, towers in the Conrad Hotel on the 50th floor.
Wow. Okay. There you go. So things are going well at the Eston residence. That's for damn sure. Zooey mama. Okay, beautiful. So here we go. Shout out to your wife, my mother, Michelle Eston, aka Mom, is normally how I pronounce that here in the States. Welcome. Great to have you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us here on the program. There's a few things to get to. Of course, we got to get your reaction, Pop. The Jets are starting to finalize this coaching staff. But one of that, we'll start here before we hit the recap mode. We'll talk about the latest thing of why a lot of Jet fans have been sort of freaking out, saying, where's this OC hire? When is this going to happen? And things of that nature. Well, there were two major signs within the last 12 hours, maybe even extended to 16 hours, that the Jets are getting very close to locking in their guy. First off, the rumored name is Tanner Engstrand. He is the passing game coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Well, yesterday, curiously, the Detroit Lions just hired David Shaw as their passing game coordinator. Last time I checked, you don't have multiple passing game coordinators. So that would suggest Tanner Engstrand, who has been reported to not have gone anywhere else, that he is on his way out because he's getting a new job. So the Lions are replacing that vacancy at that position. So David Shaw, longtime Stanford head coach, has agreed to a multi-year deal to get back into coaching. And he becomes a pass game coordinator for the Lions, which in theory leaves Tanner Engstrand out there available to be had. And Pop, let's go to the tail of the tape. Some serious radio here, moving the chains. Aaron Glenn made a radio appearance yesterday and was asked about his coordinators and coaching staff. I think this is going to put a lot of Jet fans' minds at ease. Roll the footage.
You've been thinking about it probably for a while in your life as you became a very successful coordinator and you realized the next step at some point would be to be a head coach. And it's always good to be thinking about that stuff. And it'll happen naturally, which it did for you. But then it's the procedure of hiring a staff. But you've been around a lot of coaches. I'm sure you had your eye on a bunch of guys you thought would be the ones you wanted to come work with you.
Yeah, I have. And I think the good thing about this business is creating relationships and being able to talk to men and women that really love this game, really have a high competitive nature, and really endear themselves to their teammates or their coworkers. So when talking to those men and women, I try to see, who actually have those traits within them, and then I start to look at them as the football knowledge. So we've identified a couple of guys. There's been some agreements with a couple of guys. We just haven't really signed on paper just yet, but I feel really, really good about where we're at when it comes to coordinators right now.
Jet fans, that should make you feel a little easier. I see that we also have this from J-Boy. Let me highlight this real quick on the screen. He says, the only thing Glenn can do right now to make me chill is fire Hackett. Until that point, I'll continue to freak out. Yes, a lot of the Jets coaches have exited stage left. Aaron Whitecotton, Tony Yoden, Ron Middleton. You know, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Great quote there from Ron Middleton over at the Senior Bowl. So, yes, no activity yet on Nate Hackett, but I would just say that's a matter of formality. He's not going to be back with the Jets, but it all appears. Glenn says, I feel great about my coordinators with some agreements in place. Wink, wink. And then we have the Lions replacing him. It seems like Tanner Engstrand is going to complete the major pieces here, Pop, for the New York Jets coaching staff here in 2025.
That's exciting. I don't know why he hasn't cleaned house, so to speak, and
fully
taken out
right.
the trash.
Yeah,
fully. I think Steve Wilkes is a super hire as defensive coordinator. He's got a strong mixture, and frankly, I think he got the old shafto after the 2023 season, the scapegoat for the San Francisco 49ers. But no, I think it's exciting. A lot of times, a lot of really good head coaches bring in solid pieces, and with his background as an NFL head coach, right? Not a successful NFL head coach, but a head coach nonetheless. He did a great job as interim work in Carolina to bring those, to not be afraid, right? A-type personalities hire A-types, right? B-types hire C's so they won't get overshown. So you can tell he's bringing in the right amount of talent.
It also seems this way. Shout out again. Flex on them, baby. ESPN's Rich Samini joined us yesterday and said that while Tanner Engstrand, for people who don't know, he's been an offensive coordinator at lower levels before. San Diego, that's the college. He was there from 2011 to 2017 as an OC. He was also an offensive coordinator in the now defunct XFL, which is now the UFL, the DC Defenders, back in 2020 during that COVID year. He was an offensive coordinator then, but he has not been an offensive coordinator at this level. Rich Samini says that the Jets will be hiring some level of a senior personnel person, a senior offensive mind to also be in the room. There's been some rumors about Todd Haley, another former NFL head coach, a little bit of a wiry, crazy guy. If you've seen him on some of the Hard Knocks of the Browns, he's a bit of a crazy old man, but damn it, he's obviously well accomplished. So he's one name that's floated out there. We didn't get into any other names with Rich in our interview yesterday, but if they bring in a Tanner Engstrand, it seems like the plan is to have a Steve Wilkes type, as close to that as you can get, also in the room there. So it sounds like he's really putting, a cabinet together with some real experience, some real chutzpah. Again, I found it interesting, so I guess I'll throw it back to you, Pop, here on Tanner Engstrand. This is a guy, again, despite the experience I mentioned at OC, he's never done it at the NFL level. Jeremy Fowler, another insider that joined us this week, he said that Aaron Glenn is looking for more an up-and-coming guy as opposed to a Steve Wilkes type. Those aren't readily available on offense either, I suppose, but that he was going for an up-and-coming guy as opposed to a proven guy at OC, a very important hire. I thought that was kind of curious.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with Tanner Engstrom. Sure. It is a little, I would have been more comfortable the other way, that if you brought an up-and-comer as a defensive coordinator despite what people's thoughts are of the past couple of years, the record of the Jets, not where, we wanted him to be. The defense, at the end of the year was in the top 10 both years, in one case in the top 5. And so the defense is not that far. They've got to fill some pieces in free agency. They got to, as every year you do in the NFL, it's not like, back in the late 80s where you had a team and you didn't have to do a lot of building every year. Here with the salary cap and free agency, you had to do a lot of building every year. So it had been a much more comfortable position to bring in that seasoned person on the offensive side that had been there, done that. And on the defensive side, you could take the stretch. So it is a little concerning, but I like the concept, and actually is what I thought of that we should have done back when we fired Saleh, is to bring in that mentor for Ulbrich, that mentor role, and I think that's a valuable role. And really, if the salary cap and if the Jets are one of the most valuable franchises in the NFL, if you're going to spend 250, $300 million a year, there is no salary cap on head coaching.
That's correct.
And so take what it needs. If you have this up and coming guy, maybe he's a shooting star, but let's get him the backdrop. And I like Haley as a good potential for that.
You made me nervous there for a second. You really overemphasized when you were in the middle of your talk there. You went do. I thought you were going to drop a Duval on us. So okay, you kind of freaked me out there. Okay,
no, definitely not.
Okay, well that's good to know. The only light. What a weirdo. The only light pushback I'll give is that with Aaron Glenn not calling defensive plays, it's a very comforting feeling. Again, I'm sure a lot of people would love that on offense, but it's a very comforting feeling knowing Steve Wilks, who's been a defensive coordinator 3 or 4 different times in college. I believe this will be his 4th stint as a defensive coordinator at the NFL level. He's been a head coach in 2 spots. Again, one is a full-time head coach and then one is an interim head coach. So all that experience makes me feel good that, Aaron Glenn ain't calling defense, but there seems to be a nice floor there with Wilks. I don't know what the ceiling is. Is he going to reach these top 5 defenses? Maybe with the talent he will be, but it just feels really good about the floor. It's not going to be an embarrassment. They're going to hold the line and be a average defense, hopefully much better than that, but average defense. It's not going to be a bottom tier unit that is costing you games on a consistent basis. That part is a very comforting feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, when you do have that inexperience, right? Like Robert Saleh really leaned in on the offensive team, right? At the beginning of 2024. Right. So making sure you have the right person, right? And then Steve Wilks has a lot of talent. Aaron Glenn is there as a backdrop. He can provide that challenge. And with that, looking at Haley perhaps being able to provide that to the new offensive coordinator who has not done that job before in the NFL.
By the way, quick question here from Jared B. Hey, Pop, what time is it in Papa Dhabi there?
Papa Dhabi, it is 4:43 p.m.
Good Lord. And it is 7:43, of course, over here in the States, here on the East Coast, which is absolutely bonkers. But
I would, and I'd also like to say they don't sell man-sized monsters. I'm not Andre the Giant. So
what's the ounce on that?
This is a very small can. If I could read that.
Oh, Jesus. Well, I see.
Which I cannot. I'm thinking it's like a 10 ounce or 8 ouncer.
Now, I will just say it's sort of there was a time where I'll just come out and say it like this is an episode of Maury or something. I drink Mountain Dew, and I try to contain how much Mountain Dew I drink. So at one time I sold myself on getting mini cans. I said, hey, if you do that, you're drinking less. But I noticed when I went to the fridge, I started double and triple fisting. Let me grab a couple of these suckers, and bring them back, which sort of defeated the whole purpose of getting the mini version in the first place. So, unsuccessful in that venture. Yeah.
By the way, this has the exact same. I can't read any of this, but I'll tell you that it is a monster. It is. Okay. It tastes like
it's
a
not
monster.
Like a funky taste, right? It's not like monster-ish.
However,
if
I had a moment, I could run over. I did buy. I don't know what you call it. I'll call it the UAE version of Mountain Dew. It does not taste like Mountain Dew. It has a different can.
Oh well.
It has it's called Mountain Dew, but the can looks like a Mountain Dew Zero, and it doesn't taste like either one of those.
Is that good or bad?
It is bad.
Oh, I thought maybe you reached some elite level of Mountain Dew. You're about to, try to smuggle over here to the other side. So, okay.
Yes, I will not be smuggling those.
Okay. Well, hey, different strokes, different folks. All right, let's get some more questions in here as well. We also have another AG clip to play, and I can't believe this is real. So it'll be funny to get your perspective on it. But I have NC Green here. Do we know if Darren Muji or any of his staff is at the Senior Bowl? Yes. Let's make sure we make this as clear as possible. So Darren Muji is not at the Senior Bowl. He wanted to be at the Senior Bowl, but all the timing. He was introduced on Monday. The practices were already underway basically the next day. Monday was report day for the Senior Bowl, players weighing in and getting all that jazz also over the weekend. So he could not go. He's putting his own staff together, but there is a Jet staff that will hold over. Maybe some fans don't understand. Like Phil Savage, who's currently, he's no longer the interim GM. Obviously, we have a real GM, but he's been a part of this draft. The Jets are not going to hire a brand new scouting staff here on January 31st. So they have to ride out the unit that's been preparing for the draft for the last 8-10 months. And then after the draft, that's when you could get changes with Darren Muji adding different guys from the scouting department. Now, new guys he's going to get an assistant GM. That's going to be a big hire for Darren Muji. He'll have some senior front office personnel. I don't know if it'll be a director of football ops. I'm not sure if it'll be that rich, but Chad Alexander's, Rex Hogan's, he's going to hire his own version of those guys here in the coming months. So those people, I would imagine, that have just immediately been hired and will be hired over the coming days, I imagine those guys are not down there. But the original Jet scouting staff absolutely is.
I would tell you. I would tell you that, when you, whatever it is, I'll call it a new organization. Mm-hmm. So when you have a new organization, right, the leadership all gets the French Revolution treatment on the guillotine, right? Yeah. But you typically don't fire, like you don't fire the guy in the mailroom, right?
Yeah.
Because why would you? So if you go to one of the things, the Jets over the past few years, their scouting department has done some solid work. Mm-hmm. And, they've had their misses, but I would say, that they've had more hits than misses over the past 2 to 3 years. And so likely, those people will probably carry over.
Yeah, and there's a chance they stay over permanently. I think they're definitely going to be there for the draft process, but to your point, they could end up staying long term. Badshaw here with the question: how do the free agent tight ends look? And it's always a bad sign when you go to the free agents and the top name is a Jet. That is the Jets guy who I love, Tyler Conklin, by the way. Let's start up here on Spot Track. It's by the money basically they were making at the end of their previous contract. So he's making $6.75 million per year. He's the top tight end available, but there's a bunch of guys here in the mix. I'm not sure if everyone can see the screen, but Juwan Johnson of the Saints, Mo Alley Cox of the Indianapolis Colts, Harrison Bryant of the Las Vegas Raiders, and now we're just getting into a big morass of older guys. Zach Ertz has been around forever. Mike Gesicki is, hot and cold. Trying to see if there's like a sneaky name. Yeah, there's Kenny Yeboah. CJ Uzama. Look at all these Jets legends in here. I'm trying to see if there's like a sneaky name. Tommy Tremble. A little Tommy Tremble action. Maybe he could take a dart throw. Irv Smith is a talented guy. He was making like nothing last year. Nick Vannett. There's some blocking tight ends in here. But long story short, it doesn't look like there's a lot of compelling names. But what I would say, and I don't know if you have a name or anything to add here, Pop, but the draft looks incredibly rich at tight end. So the Jets sound like it's going to be a very heavy tight end draft, both in star power and also in depth. It sounds like the Jets will be able to light up the room from that perspective, Pop.
Yeah, I think so. And I'll tell you that the Jets this year, and some of it, they underutilized the position in 2024, the tight end position.
Yeah.
And especially when, we talked about it several times that especially when, even before we added Devontae Adams, right, they had, a solid receiving core that if you did bring in, that it could have featured the tight end. And especially when you spread it out, right, when you had Devontae and Garrett, right, and then you got to worry about Breece Hall. The tight end should have eaten. And I don't remember the stats at the top of my head, but I don't recall a whole bunch of drops. And so, and just for the record, I dislike Travis Kelce, but I will tell you that he obviously, one of the greatest tight ends and whatever. But if you watch the past couple of games, right, he's not doing Jerry Rice shit, right? He's not doing Garrett Wilson stuff, catching the ball with 2 fingers, with 1 toenail in the back of the end zone. That big fat goof is in the middle of the field, right? Where apparently people forgot to cover him.
Yeah.
Like if there was anybody, the wide receivers for the Kansas City Chiefs, there's not most of them you don't have to worry about. You cover them in some zone fashion, but you got to cover fatty number 87.
Yeah.
And clearly we're not. Like I don't know what they were doing. Because a lot of times he just goes in the middle of the field and just stands there.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's been quite successful for him in this recent
It's a good
playoff.
gig.
Yeah.
It's a good gig. And I'm thinking that if the Jets had used more opportunities to use that middle of the field, especially with the wide receiver, I don't think we'll have the same wide receiver core. We're going to
Definitely
lose some
not.
people,
Yeah.
but we could have used it, was underutilized, and making sure that looks good. I would tell you that that's the key is having a plan for the tight end position and then figure out if you're going to keep Conklin. I think he's making more money than he's yielded, right? He's been about a 600-yard per season guy for life for the past
one of the most wildly productive runs in Jets history during his run, which is probably insulting, but also a compliment to Tyler Conklin. It's been solid numbers.
Right. But not whatever money he's making, right? He was in the top echelon of tight end pay, I believe. He's making Alan Lazard money.
He ended up getting a 3-year deal for $21 million. So give or take some of the bonuses, he was making just under $7 million per year. There's some tight ends that are making crazy money, but that was big for the Jets when they dipped their toe. CJ Uzomah also that same offseason, they invested overall $45 million at the tight end position. $24 million went to CJ Uzomah. That was a disaster. And then $21 million went to Tyler Conklin. Because I believe Joe Douglas said it at the time. They wanted to get another receiver. They went, oh, shit, receivers are getting paid 20-something million a year. What if we split our assets and instead of getting one big-name receiver, let's split it up and get double tight end? It was a curious, interesting strategy. Now, it didn't work out, but it was certainly interesting. June, the GM, says, Pop's looking like a young Dick Butkus. Put him at linebacker ASAP. It does look like Jamian Sherwood, a promising player with the Jets. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN joined us this week and said he is likely to leave the Jets in free agency. He's going to get good money and a lot of interest, and mentioned the former Jet coaches that have now spread around the league. Robert Saleh retakes the 49ers DC job. Jeff Ulbrich goes to Atlanta. Both locations, Jeremy Fowler said, potentially to lure a Jamian Sherwood away. So.
And that's unfortunate. And actually, a week or two ago, I was advocating that this is what you do. You develop the talent, right? We brought him in, developed him, and he stepped right in and was in the top 3 in tackles in the NFL. And you drafted him, you brought him. He's a Jet guy, and so hopefully he's a fan enough of Rodgers to like the discount double check to give the Jets, some. You can't pay everybody the top salary, right? And I would say if I was a team, I would hesitate to say he's the top 3 linebacker in the league. He had a good year as he stepped in. He didn't even start for all the games. If we could not let him outside the building, that would be good. The draft the talent, draft, develop, keep the talent.
Yeah, here's my only pushback, not on you. On Jeremy Fowler, the thing I don't understand. So Jeremy Fowler joined our show, and he said, and he's giving behind the scenes, which again, that's his job. And some of his behind the scenes is that Jamian Sherwood, obviously, he's set to be a free agent, which means his rookie contract is set to expire. And according to Jeremy Fowler in conversations he's had, is that the Jets did not approach Jamian before this season that just happened about an extension. And then when he was balling out, the Jets came over to him and said, huh? And he was like, you didn't sign me before the year. Too late, pal. I'm testing the open market. Basically seems to be the breadcrumbs that Jeremy Fowler put together. But here's my thing. Okay, I get why Jamie would have wanted security, but he was a role player. He never started basically any games during the first 3 years of his career. And the only reason he ended up starting this season is due to injury. CJ Mosley gets hurt in week 2. and Jamien Sherwood gets shoved out there. Now, he's a sub linebacker. He is the third linebacker in a 4-3, so he doesn't play all in normal circumstances. Everyone healthy, he doesn't play all the time. Because Mosley went out, all of a sudden he gets shoved into the starting lineup and has this marvelous season. He's third in the National Football League in tackles. Speaking of Dick Butkus over here, my pop's a big tackles guy. He was third in the league in tackles. I'm not surprised that he likes Jamien Sherwood. But that's the only part of the story that I don't get. What contract would Jamien Sherwood have wanted with no resume whatsoever, a former safety turned linebacker who at the time didn't have the prerequisite stats to get some crazy contract? And if it's true, then okay, shame on the Jets for not approaching Jamien about giving him a sweetheart deal, something a little more than he was making, lock him in for multiple years, and then he has this crazy year and the Jets look like a genius for signing him proactively. But that's the only part of Jeremy's story. Again, he's a great insider. That's why we had him on the show. That's the only part that doesn't seem to make sense to me. Why would the Jets have went aggressively to sign him? Because Jamien, to the public, showed nothing up until the season when he was forced into the lineup, and at that point, it was already too late.
Yeah. So, right. That take is just dumb, right? Before this year, he had the 3 previous years, he had a combined 77 tackles before this year. That's for 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. He's a role player. Now, if you remember players to watch, we came out of one of the preseason games and I was high on him. And I was telling people that he was a player to watch and fill in. But there was zero. I'll give the Jets a lot of crap when crap is due, when they missed the mark. This was not missing the mark. We had no idea. Jamien Sherwood's mother is the only one that had any idea that this was what was going to happen. Right.
Yeah.
Or, whatever. I got a bad joke. I won't say it. But, why would you have signed him? And by the way, they did him a favor by not signing him because he would have got pennies on the dollar.
100%.
And right now, the problem is now you're in a position that, and I can acknowledge it may let him go because you're going to overpay without a history of work. 1 year, right, does not, a $15-20 million a year contract make. I would be averse to overpaying for 1 year of production. So yeah, it would have been, like you said, incredible foresight to sign the multiple
Right.
deal. But why would you have done it? Right?
I don't
3 years. Yeah. So that's an asinine thing to say. It's unfortunate, but right. The problem is someone is going to overpay for Jamien Sherwood, and it may work out, but you don't know.
Yeah, here is the projections. I wrote a piece about this. You guys could go see it at Heavy on Jets. I don't have that in the YouTube description. I didn't know this was going to come up again, but Jamien is expected to sign a 2-year deal for $15.5 million. That would be $7.25 per year. That would be 15th highest paid among linebackers in football. So that's the numbers money's kind of looking at, which again is not crazy money. But Jeremy also said it that inside linebackers, unless your name is Fred Warner or Roquan Smith, that are making $20 million per year. If you're not those guys, everyone else is swimming in completely separate waters, at least as it pertains to the inside linebacker market. So there's a cap that's not crazy money. Shit, the Jets paid, oh my God, what's his name? Oh yeah, Gerard Davis. What a great free agent of yesteryear. They paid him $7 million and change a couple years ago, so you never know. But hopefully the Jets still have a chance that maybe Jamien will swing back and give a match opportunity to the Jets, the loyalty of converting him to linebacker and everything. But with all his ex-coaches gone, maybe there'll be no loyalty to New York.
Yeah, I would tell you that somebody said something like he didn't have playing time. That's why he got 77 tackles. He didn't earn the playing time. You think that Jay's doing phenomenal in practice? Like, that guy's too good. We'll keep him on the bench.
Right.
No, he didn't show up and show out until this year, right? He was good. He's good enough to make a 53-man roster. Let's be very clear, which is good, right? But he wasn't edging out C.J. Mosley, or he wasn't,
Quincy Williams, who came in as a waiver wire.
Right.
Right, so, he was an instant starter when he came in. He could have. Again, obviously Quincy turned into an all-pro, so it's been awesome. But if what Jamien was, he could have leapfrogged, in theory, Quincy Williams. He got added at the end of final roster cuts. Jaguars dump him. Jets like, yeah, we'll take a shot. And they bring him in, and then eventually he turns into the Quincy Williams we all knew. But there was time there for the rock to be seized by someone else, and Jamien didn't do it for whatever reason. And God bless him that it all worked out timing-wise. You never want to root for injury. CJ Mosley goes down. Jameon in a contract year goes balls to the wall. Now he's going to get paid. He should be thanking the Jets, quite frankly, with how it turned out. We have a YouTube super chat coming in here from June the GM, and every time we get a YouTube super chat here on the show, we go to. Sorry, wow. Pops, aka Mr. Butkus, would you coach our linebackers?
I would teach him how to tackle for sure.
Okay.
Lift, wrap, drive, or wrap, drive, lift, however you want to flip it around. Yeah. Right. Tackling would be important. Tackling.
I like that. Dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge. The 5 Ds of dodgeball also could be utilized in this fashion as well. Let's throw up the Boy Green raffle leaderboard. It's important to note this, Pop, because today is the last day. We are drawing a winner tomorrow on the channel for the big prize pack, which will include a Aaron Rodgers Nike Atmosphere jersey. We've been talking about it all month. Let's throw that up on the board so you guys can see it here. Nike Aaron Rodgers Atmosphere jersey, a $50 Boy Green merch shop gift card, and a custom laser engraving package, which has Jets logos and Boy Green logos merged together. Again, today is the last day, people. If you want a chance to win this awesome prize package, you just have to gift or buy yourself a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. All you need is one raffle ticket to enter. It's $2.99 per raffle ticket. There is no limit. Obviously, the more raffle tickets you have, the better your odds are of winning this prize package. For instance, you see number one Austrian Jet fan there with 250. I see there's more Austrian numbers to add to that. We'll do that in just a second. But again, you could buy a Boy Green Coffee Club membership that helps support the channel. That's a YouTube membership. You get all kinds of cool perks like access to our Discord channel, loyalty badge, and you get special shout outs on the show when you guys are a Boy Green Coffee Club member. So take full advantage. Again, it's only $2.99. Plus, on top of those perks I just talked about, you have a chance to win free shit. Why wouldn't you want that, baby? So make sure you do it. Again, down in the YouTube description down below, it says join the Boy Green Coffee Club by clicking here. Like I said, it's only $2.99. Or also gifting memberships. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the little money sign. Final option is gift channel memberships. I'd suggest for everyone who's watching, at least put one raffle ticket in if you haven't so far this month. You never know if you could get lucky. And $2.99 to win that awesome prize package, the value of an Aaron Rodgers jersey, the value of $50 in the Boy Green merch shop gift card, it's all going to pay back immediately. So I'd highly recommend it for everyone who's out there. And June, the GM, with that super chat, you just got yourself another raffle ticket, my friend, with your previous super chats. So shout out to June, the GM, with 7 raffle tickets so far this month. And look at this, number one Austrian Jet fan, baby, gifting a membership. Yes. Your phone there. Oh, here it is. I got it. Daniel Yanez, you are now a member to the Boy Green Coffee Club, and I do have to update the banner sheet for number one Austrian Jet fan, who's had 251 gifted memberships so far this cycle, Pop. This is pretty historic.
It is pretty historic. It's pretty historic. By the way, to answer comments in the chat, we would not be doing a PowerPoint drill on tackling. We'd be doing an Oklahoma drill.
Ooh,
daily until I was satisfied with the defense. First string, offensive, defensive, Oklahoma drill. That's what would be going on.
Yeah, he's I that was one of my favorite drills. There's something just primal about mano-a-mano Oklahoma drill, running back versus defender, and there's a very tight window there for you to either juke the guy out, truck him, or whatever is going to happen. So yeah, that was one of my favorite football drills back in high school. So sign off on that. There's no question about it. People are bringing up the linebacker class. The Jets could just, hey, sometimes that's what happens. You draft, you develop, and you can't retain because they just played so well. But hopefully you drafted well enough that your replacement is there ready on the roster to take over. That's what the Baltimore Ravens have done so well, of having guys ready to step in if they inevitably leave in free agency. The Jets currently don't have that name on the roster that I'm aware of. So we'll have to see if they could get another linebacker coming up here as well. So we'll see in this draft. Go ahead, Pop.
Yeah. By the way, somebody said something on here that made me think about the Eagles game the other day.
NFC Championship game?
NFC Championship game.
All right.
And they brought up a rule which I had never, and which
yeah.
When I hear a football rule that I've never heard of before,
that's unique.
It's shocking. And when they said, when the Eagles were jumping the Redskins, Washington Football, whoever that team is, when they were jumping offside, God bless, is it Luvu? Is that how you say that guy's
Frankie
name?
Louvu, yeah, former Jet, baby.
Yeah. And yeah, salutes. Talk about
Troy
linebackers.
Polamalu tape. Woo!
And so the fact that you could eventually, so I did not take, so I'm happy to talk. Let's talk about this for just a
Sure,
second.
yeah.
I did not think, so there are times that people are effing around and finding out. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't take that. I took it as the Washington, whatever the fuck their name is, team was trying to stop this Philly bullshit play and
Right.
to say that they weren't intentionally jumping off sides incrementally
What, like
move
delay the game or something?
delay the game. Like that was asinine. And that's the way, and the announcers, like I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? That Lulu guy, he's not trying to do, he's trying to prevent that score from happening. And by the way, I believe it's whatever his name is, Jeronica Hertz, whatever his name is, whatever her name is, or whatever you identify. If he, he was doing the right, and so they're jumping off sides. Well, if you want to tell somebody to calm the fuck down, tell him to just snap the ball and do your thing, or don't. I thought it was ridiculous because to me, all the Washington Commanders were trying to do was to cram up that Philly butt shuffle or whatever they call that stupid ass play. They were trying to stop him from doing it. So I didn't mind him at all, and especially that was phenomenal. If Luvu never got the timing right, but if he did, that's a turnover, right? When he goes flying across the.
So I'm glad you brought this up because obviously, we haven't had time to talk about it, but we do because the Pro Bowl mini games are going on right now. Super Bowl's not till next week. I agree 100%. I've never heard of that rule. And if you guys somehow missed that play in between wing eating, right? So the Eagles get all the way as close to the goal line as possible, right? They're like on the 1 yard line. And they're doing their bullshit, which is the brother shuffle, brother tush push, whatever they're officially calling it. They keep changing the name, right? So the NFL looked it over and said, we see no problem here. Eagles keep running that play, and it's been incredibly effective. Jalen Hurts apparently has a very strong lower body. He's shown in the offseason these crazy squatting. You have the right offensive lineman. You're diving low enough. And you have someone pushing his ass from behind him. So, it's very hard to stop. And so Frankie Louvu, I joked on Twitter that he was watching too much Troy Polamalu tape. He's trying to dive over the trenches to see if he could jump over and grab Hurts to prevent his forward progress and see if it can happen. Obviously, Jalen Hurts going, ready to red. And then all of a sudden, Frankie's like, whoa, and he jumped over like 2 or 3 times. But I never heard that rule, and the rule was this. The refs said they warned Washington that if you do this another time or two, we're just going to award a touchdown. First off, I've never heard of that. Number two, who does the touchdown go to? Is it just anonymous touchdown? Who gets the touchdown? Gambling and everything else? That would be very curious too. And again, I would understand if there was some fucking around. They were trying to get around the rule. They're trying to do something cute. Mike Vrabel did that to Bill Belichick in the Titans-Patriots playoff game a bunch of years ago. He had a unique loophole in the rule where he could keep working off time by doing a dumb penalty, and the refs came over and warned him. He said, I don't know what they're doing, even though he did know what they were doing. So I would get that if they get pissy about that. But Washington was literally, to your point, Pop, trying to do everything they can for this gimmick bullshit, not really a football play. They're like, fuck, how can we stop that? I don't know how the hell we're going to stop it. Let's try anything. And then they get warned, and then the Eagles just get their touchdown anyway. So, yes, I've never heard of that before. It's cool and interesting that I can watch football as long as I have, and I enjoy football, and I love watching football. And I feel like I know a lot of the rules. So, like when we had a party for the conference championship game, people were looking at me to explain rules and why this is this and this, and they looked at me. I'm like, never heard of that one. That's new. So there was a little bit of that to their Pop. So crazy. And what's your? There's time here still left. What's your early thoughts on the Super Bowl?
I hope, in the friendliest way, that the stadium implodes.
Yeah, right. That's true. With your allegiances in that.
With no fans inside. No one gets hurt.
Of
If
course.
somehow nobody could get hurt, that would happen. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I think Kansas City lines up the best 16 players on the field every week. So it's hard to beat them with everyone else's 11.
I have no comment on those matters, but hey, I will just say this. I know. Let me clear this up, and then I see we have a super chat. We'll get into that in a second. I just want to clear this up real quick. I've had a lot of people come out on social media and apologize to the New England Patriots, saying I'm sorry. I didn't say this; other people did on Twitter, and saying we're sorry. Your dynasty wasn't as bad as his Chiefs. Then you must have been born in some other decade where you didn't watch it. The Patriots dynasty is far worse to me. Spygate, this gate, Tom Brady, Uggs, jerk off, whatever the hell is going to. I still hate the New England Patriots because of that. So, no. To me, again, maybe I would feel differently if the Jets were an elite superpower and they're the ones getting smacked by the Chiefs. Currently, we're not. So maybe my perspective is different. But this repeat and the chance for history to me is incredibly compelling. When they beat and fuck the Buffalo Bills, the same thing for your Eagles. I hope the stadium implodes. Yeah, fuck the Buffalo Bills. So I was rooting as hard as I possibly could for the Chiefs over the weekend. And now that they're there, while I love Saquon Barkley and I've loved him since he came into the league, so a tip of the cap to him. I hope the Chiefs repeat. That would be crazy. That'd be unbelievable. It's compelling stuff. Love to hate whatever you guys want to say about the Chiefs, but man, we've never had a chance for a three-time in a row Super Bowl champion. We've never had that before where we're in a Super Bowl, and if that team wins, we have 3 Super Bowls in a row. We've never had that happen, that opportunity in history. So I don't know. To me, it's incredibly compelling.
Yeah, no, it is compelling. It's just
but I get it.
Yeah, and I would just say, talking about the Patriots and the Patriots hate, love to your mother, by the way. But they really got off, on whether it was Spygate, the deflated balls. They found out that they deflated the balls.
Yep.
So correlated to a different scandal. And so what they get, they lost some money. They got fined.
I think they lost a draft pick, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a fine, and didn't Tom Ugg Boots miss a game or two or something like that? I can't remember.
For the Deflategate, I believe he missed 4 games, and that's where we saw the Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett train for the first 4 games of the season, I believe.
But if you think about it, like you go to the New Orleans Saints for a second.
All right.
Like another scandal, if you will.
Oh, Bountygate.
Yeah. Bountygate, right? Williams, whatever his first name
Williams.
is.
Oh, that's
Greg Williams. But listen, right? So what did he do? He goes, I want you to go out there and punish the other team. And if you take a player out because you tackle them hard, right?
I don't think know if that's how he portrayed it, but yes, it's a very kind
football.
way to lay
All
the
I'm saying
facts
is
out there.
That's football, right? That none of that stuff was illegal. And what happened? The head coach was out for a freaking season.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Yeah. Sean Payton lost a season.
Full.
And Greg Williams was suspended indefinitely, which really just meant a full season. But
he came back.
Pretended like it was indefinitely. But you correlate that to literally fucking cheating, which was Deflategate. I mean, that is literally cheating. You can say what you want about players. I'm going to pay you $10,000. You're not going to play her out of the game. You can say what you want about that, right? I did not. I watched football all the time. I went back and watched some of those games. I didn't see the Saints like under the pile twisting this guy's leg to break it. They were hitting hard.
I don't know the specifics. It felt like there's a few times like, hey, again, these bonuses to say, hey, 47, his time's over. I don't know.
But I just say that the penalties for those two was like the Patriots got off pretty lightly. We're on a complete tangent. I'm gonna jump way over here and I'm gonna come back.
Okay.
Way back in the day, there was a player, I believe it was for the Bears. He wrote Brett Favre's number on his towel, and then he was going to put him out of the game. Like he said he was going to put him out of the game. On his waistband towel, he wrote Brett Favre's number, and I believe it was Brett Favre. And at the end of one play, he picked him up and spiked him as like an added bonus. That is when football was football. He literally spiked him. I believe it was after the play, and he'd written his number on the towel to take him out of the game. I cannot remember the gentleman's name.
Yeah, I just tried to do a quick Google search. I was hoping that story would come up, but yeah, it's not coming up in that way. But that sounds like a good story. That's pretty bleeping wild. By the way, we have a YouTube super chat here from our number 1 Austrian Jet fan, which again, we really appreciate. Every time we get a shout out, we hear from my daughter's Rylan. Wow. Number 1 Austrian Jet fan has asked, And thank you for the super chat, my good sir. And by the way, with this, you got some more memberships. But if I reach a record-breaking 300 gifted memberships, can I give away an emoji to a coffee club member? How about this? Hell yeah! You make up the rules. Sure, number one Austrian Jet fan. If you put it, if you get yourself over the 300 membership gifting this cycle, you can absolutely give away an emoji. We have an emoji that is available. Obviously, we also just released the Darren emoji, which, guys, throw that up on the board. Booyah, here it is, the Darren emoji. That's available. But yes, we do have one extra emoji available. So yes, number one Austrian Jet fan, if somehow you get over 300, and today's your last day, I suppose. So if you could get over the 300 mark today, you can reach out to me separately and let me know the coffee club member that you would love to gift that to, and we will speak that into existence. That would be a kind gesture, and thank you so much for all your wonderful gifting so far this month. Absolutely historic. So, yes, I'd be willing to make up the rules as we go and switch it all up, number one Austrian Jet fan, if you were to do that. So, yes. Like the video, hit subscribe. We got 700 people in the room right now, baby, which we appreciate. Before we get to the phone, oh, you have something, Pop. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I got it all wrong. I got the teams right, the players wrong.
Oh,
it was
okay.
actually Jim McMahon that was spiked of the Chicago
Jesus.
Bears by a Packers.
Oh. Jim McMahon has had a lot of health problems.
Happened in 1986. Go ahead and Google that.
Okay.
The Packers had a bounty on the Bears. Packer on November 23rd, 1986. 1986.
Yeah, we don't have rights to this, or I would show this, but I see the reading of it. There's late hits, and then there's what Charles Martin did to a Bears quarterback.
He body slammed him after the interception. He went and body slammed him.
Good night. So, okay, November 23rd, 1986. So I have it on mute here. Let's see if they show the replay. So, oh boy. Okay. Well, I guess I'll show it on the screen because my dad's a sick puppy. All right, let's throw this up on the screen. It'll be on mute, people, because we don't have the audio rights to this. But we'll throw it up here on the screen. Here it is. All right, we'll throw this up here of apparently what happened to Jim McMahon here. Oh, good Lord. Okay, so this play is over. Jim McMahon clearly does not have the football here. What's going on?
Here it comes. And see the numbers on the towel.
Oh, Jesus, man. On that.
And that slow motion does not do it justice. I watch it live time.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to show. Let me see if it, shows a quick replay. I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe this is. Oh, here we go. This looks real time. Okay. What the hell? Like this is there's after the and oh man, that is Jesus. Good Lord have mercy. That is that's brutal. That is disgusting. Wow. Ugh. So yeah, and people think they're protected now. They say they call it the McMahon Slam. I didn't know that was the name for it, but
it's like the Malachi Crunch from
there you go. Hey, real quick before we go to the phone lines, there's a Bill Parcells story I wanted to share here on the show, and it was from Aaron Glenn. Again, Moving the Chains. It's on their Pat Kerwin show on Sirius XM NFL Radio, and apparently, so Aaron Glenn, of course, 1994 first-round pick in the New York Jets, right? So 12th overall, spent 8 of his first 15 seasons with the Jets. Bill Parcells was not there in 94. He eventually came and joined the team. And this is basically the backstory, although I think it'll explain it in the clip too, but just in case it doesn't. Bill Parcells and a lot of NFL teams have certain measurements for positions that we don't want anyone that's not this. So, for instance, I want all my corners to be at least 6'2". Those are the measurements I like to see for my thing. For those who don't know, Aaron Glenn is 5'9". So apparently when Bill Parcells came in, Aaron Glenn talked about one of the most scared, intimidating moments of his life is when Aaron Glenn was called up to Bill Parcells' office. And I don't know if you want to call this a threat. I don't know if you want to call this a warning. I'm not sure, but we're going to go to this story. Bill Parcells, Aaron Glenn. Oh, boy. Wow. Here we go.
I want to ask you about Parcells. I was there when Parcells came. I was there when he figured out that he liked you and then he loved you. and he's an influencer, too. You know, he can't help himself. He wants to be that guy with the people he loves. So you are one of them. Tell me what he's got to say to you.
Well, Pat, I thought Parcells was trying to kick me out of the Jets building at one point.
Well, he did kick me out, so don't worry about it. We had something in common.
But I'll tell you what, that was one of the trying to see what word I could use. I don't want to say afraid, but one of the most intimidating parts of my career was hearing that he didn't like corners of my statue. And
I was the one who defended you. He called me in and said, how tall is he exactly? And I told him, he goes, man, I like cover 2, 6'2" corners. They said, well, that's not this guy, but he plays man-to-man, and he's got a vertical leap. And I went through this whole thing, and he just looked at me like, okay, you can leave now. And then you won him over, not me.
Yeah, I must have came in his office right after that, because when I went up there, he told me, listen, everybody has a price on their head. If someone's going to offer me something for you, and if I like it, you're out of here. So, but I tell you what, man. When I tell you, I respect that man at a high level. After that, I mean, he's just a real coach, and man, he's to me, he's the best there is. He's always be the best there is because of the way that he will get the best out of every single player that he's come around. He understands when to be hard on him. He understands when to put his arm around him. He's been a huge influence in my life. So I love him to death. And man, I tell you what, he's changed my life as a coach.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Basically threatened to trade the guy. I mean, yeah, everyone's to just say like everybody's got a price on Aaron Glenn said, oh my God. So yeah, I heard that story yesterday on Sirius XM radio. I was like, good Lord. But obviously Bill Parcells has had a tremendous impact on the life of Aaron Glenn and certainly the coaching there, Pop, of old AG.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, let's do this. We'll only do it for a few more minutes, but we'll open up the phone lines, baby. And again, another reminder, today is your final day, people, to get in your memberships. Today's not the final show. I want to make that clear. We have today's show going on, and we'll also be on with Jake Asman later today. I'll be counting those memberships as well, so that will be another opportunity for you guys to get your final raffle tickets in. And then tomorrow, Hop on Pop again, we'll be drawing a winner live on air, and that lucky winner, someone that gifted, got some raffle tickets. Again, it could be someone who only had one. It could be Austrian Jeffrey with 253. Again, it'll be complete at random, and all of you guys will watch it live when the wheel spins and see who it lands on. And it already will be pre-calculated with all the raffle tickets that you guys have submitted. So you have the rest of this show, and then also you'll have the Jake Asman show later today to send in those memberships as well. You guys can also use PayPal or Venmo to push it even further. But at midnight, we're going to cut it off tonight. So again, you guys have all the way till then if you'd like to PayPal or Venmo that money in for the raffle tickets. Just make sure you explain that in the PayPal Venmo description. We'll play a quick hep song, and we'll take a few phone calls next right here on Boy Green Daily.
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Boy Green Daily, talking just football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets. Boy.
Shout out to Hep, baby. We got 800 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. That's a free way to contribute. On top of this giveaway we're doing for all the people that paid money to be a part of it, we're also doing a separate giveaway for free for subscribers to the channel. It is free to subscribe to the channel. That is youtube.com/boygreen25. Once we reach mile markers and our chase to 10,000 subscribers, we're going to be giving stuff away. 7,500 subscribers, so we're about 200 and change away from getting to that number. And as quickly as we get to it, I'm going to be giving stuff away. At 7,500 subscribers, we're going to be giving away an autographed piece of New York Jets memorabilia signed by 2 former New York Jets first-round picks, and we'll pick it. It could be an old subscriber, could be a new subscriber. Will be drawn at random, and we will send that to you. And we got a lot of other fun prizes coming up as well throughout this process. So thank you, everybody, here on the show. Let's go to the phone lines. We got a cup of Philly noodles, baby. And
what's
Philly,
going on, gentlemen?
Without further ado, let me do this for you because I'm a man of the people.
Okay.
Boom,
Look at
shakalaka.
that. Look at that quintessential 90s Street Fighter bounce, bro.
Now,
You
you
were
like that?
just
You like that?
breaking boards, ripping. That was
You know, I'm
amazing,
waiting
dude.
to be selected. I'm the fighter in the. Yeah, there you go.
That's
Beautiful.
how I want Moogie in the draft war
That's it.
room. Just like slashing prices. Get me up to number one,
Yeah,
Cam
all right.
Ward. Let's
There we
make
go,
it
baby.
happen.
Yes.
Yeah, let's see if that happens. But
Yeah.
real quick, Pops, that's a 12-ounce slim can, a monster. It gets the effect and gets it done for sure. I love those things. Cheap on the budget, even though a larger can is energy drink. And on top of that, I need you on retainer the way you just defended Greg Williams before. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, I need you on retainer. He wasn't speeding; it was going faster than you thought. That's still not
right.
speeding.
There you go.
It's different words there, you know.
That was unique, right?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Muji, I'm excited. Been excited about it. I wonder which route we're gonna go. Is Aaron staying around or not?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I'm crazy. I think we should pull a Sanchez from 09, trade up, try to get Cam Ward at number one. Call me crazy. But if I get Aaron back for 1 year, what is that going to do to a guy who's not played enough football in college anyway? He's not going to get 1 year Aaron and be like, oh, now I'm Jordan Love. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So it has to be someone up there. But if we don't do it because it's rich and it's going to cost a lot, then it is what it is.
I'll tell you this, Philly. We're going to – I don't know when it's going to be because we've had all this pressing news of coaching staff and this. That's on my list of stuff to talk about and walk through that idea of what you just mentioned of the Jets just go, F it. Let's see what it costs. What does it look like? Pros and cons, and talk through that process. We'll definitely do that show here in the very near future.
Yeah, because – you know, in my mind, you know, I've had to talk on Discords with guys, and it's like, listen, I know it sounds crazy to do it, and it's like, oh, Sanchez was the 5th selection, and they moved up from like whatever in the
17.
teens. Yeah,
17 to 5. Yep.
Yeah, I understand it, and if you go by the Jimmy Johnson chart, it's a 3,000 point hit at 1. Then the number 5 overall, the 7th overall is 1,500. So that just means you just dip into another first rounder. And then you give them, you know, the quintessential 3rd or 2nd, whatever package it is. But to me, it's like if we are focused on winning, and let's say we even win 10 games, we're in the teens next year. Yeah. So you're not going to jump off from the teens to number 1 if the number 1 overall quarterback could be there. Like, oh, Archie Manning. Oh, come on, dude. He's going number 1 if he's that hyped up. Whoever is going number 1 again. So from the teens, you're never going to afford it. This is the moment to afford it if it is. Unless you plan on losing, which they don't, right? So
right. Well, that's the also thing I like is that I'm a draft value chart nerd. If I'm like, oh, 3,000 points, the Jets would have to. I always love doing that kind of stuff. But of course, the thing that is unspoken on the value chart is the year by year basis. This year, let's be honest, it's going to cost you a lot less to trade up than last year. It just is what it is. The value of the year changes the conversation, which also, to your point, it could incentivize Jets to go, hey, this is a unique year where we don't – yesterday's price is not today's price. Last year's price is not this year's price.
Yeah, and if they're so – let's say they're so, you know, sought out to need a quarterback. Aaron just built a home in Tennessee. You want to take him?
Hey, now.
You want to run that? I mean, I doubt you don't. You don't want to because you probably would have called us by now. So, you know, it's interesting. But Tanner Engstrom or whatever his last name is, he's going to want a tight end. They're going to want a tight end. So I'm wondering if they just wait to second round to pick a tight end.
If the Jets do the opposite, someone brought this up in the chat earlier, so sorry we didn't get a chance to get to that comment. It might have been Alan. You obviously we should talk about every path because I think we should be prepared for every scenario. Staying at 7, moving up from 7, moving back from 7. A popular idea has been how far. What is the line of no return? Because you'd love to maximize that line. If the Jets want Tyler Warren, how far can we trade back and still get Tyler Warren and get the assets with it? That's what Alan I think was suggesting earlier. That one's interesting to me. Obviously, if you trade back too far, then you lose it. But that's a compelling case to be made.
The Colts, if like you've seen if you and Pops have seen, the mocks, that's where he's kind of So I think that was like 13 or
something like that.
Yeah, so it's probably the number, but I don't. I mean, with how they're performing at the Shrine and how they might be performing at, this is a stout.
Colts are at 14 apparently, so 14 for the Colts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what are you gonna do? Do 13, and who's at 13, and why would they want to come up? You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Takes two to tango.
let me get that 7 to go to 1. You know what I mean? Just flip it. Make it
There
happen.
we go. I like
All
it.
right.
Cup of Philly noodles. Thanks for calling in, brother. Appreciate you, man. Yes, sir. And yeah, we'll see. Like I said, we'll have a show on that. I'm sure my father will have very polite and honest feedback to the chance of trading from 7th overall to number 1 overall. I'm sure he's going to have very rational and reasonable takes on that. So I can't wait for that show in the future. Pop, I just want to thank you. I'll stay on to answer a few more calls, but Pop from Abu Dhabi, I appreciate you. I'm not sure I'm not sure if that is the appropriate exchange of greetings in Abu Dhabi. I've never been there, but I will say, Pop, thanks for joining us, and I know you'll be back on with us tomorrow.
Yep, and I'll leave one thing. There's
Oh,
one
sure.
fun fact
One
about
thing.
this hotel room.
Oh, okay.
This hotel room, for whatever reason, there's different cultures, there's different ideas, there's different hygiene everywhere.
Oh God.
So somewhere in the world, they use the bidet, right?
Oh,
Which is what
so
they
you're
use.
bideting it up?
No,
Huh?
no, just let me finish.
Oh, sorry.
So apparently, Abu Dhabi is so equal opportunity that for some reason there is a room in the bathroom that has a flush toilet sitting beside a bidet, so that you could hold hands with somebody.
Ah,
So I don't know why there's one of each, but there is in the bathroom. And what's really disturbing
okay.
is, besides the fact that there's a bidet right beside the toilet, what's really disturbing is there is, at a kitchen sink, they have like the hose,
Sure.
like that you pull it out, and you spray. For some reason, on the wall of the bathroom, which is not the shower, there's one of those hoses.
Where are you
beside the
supposed to
toilet.
shove? Is that like a gas?
Listen, I don't judge anyone. But and it's on the side of the toilet. It's not on the side of the bidet.
What the hell?
So it's very confusing.
Like a car wash?
But yeah, right. If you get clean the undercarriage after you're done. And by the way, where's that water going? Like it's not in the shower.
That just goes all over the floor when you're like, let me give myself a kerfluffle back there.
When I ran out of toilet paper, someone let me hose myself down. It's
what about
very
the next person that comes in the bathroom? They're like, Jesus, what happened in here? It's an aquarium in here. Yeah, a lot of questions.
A lot of questions. It's quite disturbing. So
well, I'm looking forward to the next Abu Dhabi report live on the scene. Hop on Pop tomorrow morning. It should be a doozy. Yeah.
Very good. Coffee Club. Have a great day.
All right, hop on Pop. We appreciate you. Number one Austrian Jet fan says, unfortunately, I got technical difficulties won't let me buy. Austrian Jet fan, I don't know if you have this option available. We do have PayPal or Venmo. That's at BoyGreen25, BOY Green the color 25. So you can send it in that way if you'd like as well. Obviously, Boy Green Coffee Club memberships are $2.99 a piece, and then just kind of extrapolate that out for whatever you choose to do. So I don't know if that option's available if you're trying to send in more memberships that way, but that would also be possible. Again, that would be at BoyGreen25, BOY Green the color GREEN 25. That is the way to do it. So let me know if that helps you at all, number one Austrian Jet fan. Sorry about that. I know sometimes people have the technical difficulties. Again, if you can't get it on this show, you can do it on the Jake Asman show. Again, I'll be coming up live at 4 o'clock. We'll be cross-streaming on both channels. So hopefully that helps you out there as well. All right, let's go back to the phone lines here. Again, we got 800 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe, baby. June, the GM, joins us here on the show. What's up, June? Good morning.
What's going on, Paul? Very interesting. I've been on a lot of different channels, listening to a lot of draft talk, right?
Okay, yeah.
And everybody got their opinions on, hey, let's go get a tight end, let's go get this, that.
Oh, yeah.
But the reality is that we don't know how Muji and Glenn are planning on constructing this team. Yeah. Are they going to be a more physical team and focus more on players that, have a certain physicality to their game? Mm-hmm. Are we going for more speed? Because with the linebacker Sherwood, if they're going for more speed, then it's smart to keep him, right? But if they're going for more physicality, then maybe they say, hey, he's not worth the $15-20 million he's going to ask for because we want this type of linebacker. What's the linebacker in Detroit with the neck brace? He looks like a throwback. He looks like a crazy animal. A white guy with the long hair, like he's
Alex Anzalone,
yeah. Right? You see that type of linebacker? That's like a physical, impose his will type of linebacker.
Yeah.
Are we going to start building our team that way? So it's so premature to talk about draft because we don't know what type of team they're trying to construct. I think a lot has to do with the OC. And now that we know we got Wilkes, maybe we can look back at previous defenses that he coached and how he utilized certain players to get an idea.
And plus free agency, June. I mean,
Right.
I will just say I enjoy the draft process. I love that on January 31st we could do a mock draft, and then in 2 weeks it could be different because we did this,
Right.
this, and then 2 more weeks it'd be more different because of free agency, and then more differences, blah blah blah. I love all the conversations of it. But yeah, if we're being real, the Jets might need again, a perfect example is last year, right? Oh my God, we need a left tackle. We have to get a left tackle with the 10th overall pick. Oh, wait, we signed Tyron Smith. Okay, maybe we don't. We ended up doing it anyway for all the reasons we already talked about. But that's what I mean. Exactly. The Meadowland Swamp thing says it. Speculation's fun. I love the rampant speculation. Ooh, which free agents could we sign? Everyone comes on the show and says, here's my pitch for my guy. Here's my pitch for my guy. And then we see what happens and we react to it. And then we get to the draft. Oh, man, I want a left tackle. I want a quarterback. I want a wide receiver. Philly Doodle said, I want to trade up to number 1. Alan said, I want to trade back. Jesus, we got a million options available for everybody.
And I tell you what, it might sound crazy, but
yeah,
I'm not opposed to moving up. If you think that Cam Waters or Sanders is the future, if you look at him in that, I think they're great. If you look at them in that way, do you give up 2 number 1s, 2 future number 1 draft picks and swap picks for it? If that's who you believe could be the future, yes. I still think that by all means necessary, you have to lock down Aaron Rodgers if we really want to talk playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Because the free agency class of quarterbacks is a little underwhelming, if I must admit. So, so if we're talking realistically with the talent we have, because we got the talent, we say that all the time. We want to make the playoffs, hurry up and lock down Rodgers. Have to sit down, talk with him already, and get on the same page. Because I hope it's not a pride thing that I want to show people I could do without him. I love Glenn. I don't think he's that type of person.
No.
But let's relax. He's a Hall of Famer. Let's sit down. Let's talk business. Hey, come back so you can end your career the right way and we can start our career the right way. We need to lock down Aaron Rodgers by all means necessary.
Yeah, and I'll be curious when that decision is going to come. Are the Jets going to push that all the way to the front door free agency, which would be early March? Is that when they're going to sign Aaron Rodgers? Or we're going to find out somewhere in the month of February? That would be my guess, is we're going to find that answer out, whether Aaron Rodgers playing football at all. My gut says yes, he's playing football. My gut says he's not retiring. And then is it with the Jets or somebody else? Those are the compelling questions. And they kept talking about winning. There's no way you can effort winning. And you're bringing that win-win. We're winning. I could see wins and all this jazz. And are you saying that for Tyrod Taylor? Who are you saying that for?
No
yeah,
way.
100%.
Tyrod has the last season ever. No,
yeah, so it has to be Rodgers, I think. Yeah.
Speaking about draft, there's a couple players that personally I really like a lot.
Yeah.
I love the tight end class. I think it's the strongest tight end class in years.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally would like us to go another offensive lineman. I know underwhelming pick. I want the line beef.
Meat and potatoes, baby.
Oh, yeah. I want a strong defensive line. Who do you like in the draft? I like Tyler Warren. I think he brings a certain Mark Bavaro type of
I like that
game. A tight end could change the game. Who do you like so far that you say, you know what, I would love this guy to be a Jet?
Same sort of thing you just said. I get what some of the fan reaction would be, but if you get a meat and potatoes Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle out of Texas, or you go Will Campbell, the offensive lineman out of OSU, I get how some people would initially be like, oh man, but how could you not be like, shit, man, we just locked in our offensive line for the present and future, and we're protecting whoever the hell's playing quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, these Cam, whatever's going to happen. You have them protected. So I am fascinated by the possibility, if it works out, you get a right tackle. And Field Yates said this yesterday. I tweeted out the clip. Well, like I said, we'll do a different draft show, I'm sure, coming up soon. If 2 quarterbacks are going ahead of you, and that looks very likely, that means somebody else is sliding to you. So you're either going to get a great BPA option or have the trade back option if someone trying to jump up. I just want to make sure the Jets should make sure they walk away from the draft with a blue chip guy. I think with 2 quarterbacks going early, you would. So Mason Graham excites me. I'm curious schematically, Steve Wilkes and AG got to get in a room and see, is it going to be 3-4, 4-3? because then it would determine where Quinnen's playing. Because I don't like him as a true nose, so I think he'd be wasting or marginalizing his talents. I just want a big fatty, Tony Saragusa, God rest his soul. I want a Haloti Nada people brought up. I want a Sione Pua. I want something like that. If we're transitioning 3-4, maybe that changed my perspective up front. But if we're riding 4-3, Quinnen and Mason Graham up front in the middle with our two edges being Jermaine and Will McDonald, that revs my engine. That would be incredibly intriguing. Shoot, I don't know how we fit all the pieces. I'll let the gods figure that one out. You just get an awesome player and you're going to win a lot. Abdul Carter, to me, if somehow he slips, he looks like a freak. He looks like Micah Parsons, and he had the same jersey number and same college as Penn State. That would be exciting too.
I do want to say one more thing before I leave as well. I was able to take my lunch break. I timed it and watched the Samini interview yesterday.
Yes.
And you did a fantastic job of leading him to talk about that situation with Aaron Glenn. It was phenomenal. I was waiting for it, and he admitted that he got destroyed. And I love the fact that Samini said, I gain a little bit more respect for him because sometimes it gets on my nerve, his negativity. But I did like that he said, hey, listen, man, that's like our job. We got to kind of stir the pot a little bit. I think you did a great job on that interview. I don't think it's easy for an analyst to interview another analyst. I don't think that's an easy thing to do, but you did a great job. I like the interview, man.
Well, June, thank you so much, and thank you for the call. And just a quick nugget on that Rich thing, right? So everyone says, this is what I would ask Rich. How do you get there, though? I'm not trying to pat myself on the back at all. I just love doing these interviews, and I'm glad you guys enjoy them. But, from the outside, a lot of Jet fans are giving Rich shit for how that whole AG thing went. And I'm like, well, I want to ask Rich the questions that you fans want to know. And all the fans are going, what the fuck happened there? It sounded like AG was, whoosh, I ain't playing no games. And what's Rich's perspective if I'm not playing no games and cutting him off and stuff? A major shout out to Rich for taking the question and not getting pissy with me, right? And be like, who the fuck are you, pal? I'm joining your show. Don't be trying to throw shit at me. But he was willing to play in the sandbox. And one of the things that I enjoy for me of bringing guests on the show is I try to lower the guard. Everyone feels like you're going to get got in today's society. Is this guy trying to get me to say some stupid ass answer so he can post on social media? I try to show my goofy personality where we're taking the guards down immediately in an interview. And then we're hands up. I'm not going to let this guy get me. Oh, wait, he's just trying to have a conversation. And there just happens to be cameras and mics around, but we're just chatting as if we were at the bar. Oh, this guy's cool. And I hope that gives you guys a level of candidness from the guests that normally are uptight. They're like, this guy's trying to fuck with me. That's what I would assume. A lot of these athletes, I've had the great pleasure. I just created the playlist on YouTube. If you guys are new to the channel, or you haven't seen some of my previous interviews, I made a playlist called Boy Green's Biggest Interviews. There's Garrett Wilson in there, who I've talked to before, former players, current players, analysts, everything all over the place. And if you watch those interviews, just my cogs turning for the interviews. I'm always trying to lower the guard of whoever I'm with so we can have honest conversations, fun conversations. And like I said, hopefully it's just me and him at the bar and there's mics and cameras around. But they don't notice them because hopefully I've got them comfortable enough. They're not even thinking about that. And that's what I try to hopefully get more out of the interview for the people. By the way, Super Chat, we'll get to more phone calls here in just a second on the channel. Again, every time we get a Super Chat, let's hear from our baby. Wow. Emmanuel Holcomb here. By the way, you got one raffle ticket to the Boy Green contest. Appreciate you, Emmanuel. As shown by support, the AG, he has been preparing for this job for a long time, and that leads me to believe that he will be successful here. We can only hope. I think all the pieces, we never know, obviously. You never know 100%. But boy, the Parcells stories, how he handled Rich and the rest of the media, that to me was pretty compelling, and how they set that up. There's a lot to like there from AG. Again, we will see, obviously. But there's a lot to like there, Emmanuel. So Jet fans should be quite pleased. But we'll see. Again, a lot of Jet fans will only be pleased by the results. It's results-oriented business. We'll see what happens there. Back to the phone lines here. We got NYJ FL here on the show. What's up, pal?
Morning, Paul. Good conversation with your dad.
Yeah.
Philly Noodles had an interesting take about trading to one, but I would say that conversation should happen if Cam Moore drops below the Patriots, and that's where the conversation begins. If we like 4, one of these quarterbacks,
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's some other teams around there that need a quarterback, but
Correct.
you
Yeah.
never know what they're thinking either, right? So my guy, when you were talking about big fatties like Puha and some of these other guys,
Yeah.
I'm reading about, and I love Kenneth Grant. I'm
Yes.
reading Kenneth Grant he's gonna run in the 4.9s. Okay,
Holy
he's
shit. Wow.
a 340-pound defensive tackle who can run 4.9. So when you see Jalen Carter dominate this, in the Super Bowl, I'm immediately going to go to Kenneth Grant and say, that's our Jalen Carter right there. We
Hmm.
need I'm banging the drum for a disruptor. I think if that guy can run and show his skills, he's going to be a top 10 pick. A lot of
Yeah.
people are saying, oh, he's a late rounder. No, I don't think so. You're not going to get big
Top
men like
10
that.
maybe. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not going to get big men like that. I think the guy from the Bucks, Vita Vea, was 11 or something like that.
Yeah, let me
So
see what
there are,
Vita Vea was. Let me see. I thought
yeah,
it was
there are
later. Maybe I'm gonna misremember that. Let me see. Where was old Vita Vea? Oh,
12
holy
maybe.
shit! You were right. You nailed it. 12th overall pick. Holy shit! Wow, he went higher than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and you could see how that the middle of the defense is pretty much, he dominates the middle of the Buccaneers defense.
Yeah.
But I have an interesting thought about. I mean, there's so many options at 7, and I know people have thrown out tight ends and things.
Yeah.
The Lions drafted a running back. I'm not really advocating for this, but
I believe
Jameer
that was
Gibbs.
12th overall too. Yeah.
Yeah, Jameer Gibbs has similar physical size and athleticism as
Ooh.
Ashton Jeffy.
Hey
Okay, they're
now.
both 5'9". They're both explosive. Um, and I know Aaron Glenn has to defend against that in practice,
That's a
every
good
day
point.
against when he the Lions. I wouldn't be amazed. The guy had over 2,000 yards rushing in college. I mean,
Yeah. Second most rushing
that
yards
could
all time
certainly
behind
change
what?
your up.
Barry Sanders. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Hey, Paul, you look at the
Yeah.
Saquon, and they're not exactly the same type of runner.
Hmm.
But you look what a Saquon did for the Eagles. You look what um what's his name from the Ravens.
Oh, Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Derrick Henry. I know they're not the same type of back, but the running back in a way has come back into style more than people
Hmm.
think. To have an explosive physical runner, I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets went for Genti.
I want to
Depending
say
on the
this.
situation.
I want to say this. Okay. I'm not breaking. I obviously this may be obvious, but I want to say it. I don't break stories like Adam Schefter left and right. That's not normally my bag. That's not something I do. But I will tell you that I have confirmed with enough people that I trust that the Jets wanted Jameer Gibbs like nobody's business in that draft. They wanted him.
Okay.
They wanted him badly. And when the Lions traded up and got him, because they were moving all across the board, they were early, then late, then early. They were moving all over the place. And I could just tell you, the Jets in their room went fuck when the Lions moved up and grabbed Jameer Gibbs. They wanted him. Like I said, I've had national people confirm it. I've had people in the building confirm it. Just all of it, that they wanted him. And if that's true, and all the thing is true, that means, to your point, if they were willing to potentially do that and I don't know how they view him again, Gibbs's ratings versus what Ashton J2 would be. If they were willing to swim in those waters, and I know different coaching staff, and it will be a different regime and things, I will be very curious if they say, Brees Hall enters last year of deal. Like,
Yes.
you just kind of put all the pieces together. You'd have the 5th-year option on Ashton, and you want offensive weapons. To your point, I haven't heard a lot of people say that, but you're right. AG is as close to Gibbs and seeing what he can provide in offense. An old school guy himself, why wouldn't he want to establish a ground game? And wow, I had not heard that anywhere until you just said it. And I think about those old notes I had. I think that's pretty compelling.
Let me say this too. Brees is I don't see him hitting the hole really hard to make the tough yards. He dances around. He dances around at the offensive line sometimes. He doesn't
Yeah.
make the hard yards, and he's had a few issues with drops and fumbles. So I wouldn't say he's an elite runner. Everyone talks about, oh, we drafted Brees, blah blah blah. He's a nice player, but he may not be an elite runner, an elite player. And a chance to get an elite runner like that who can change a game in any situation, very interesting potential. Paul, I know you got to go, so appreciate it. But my guy's Kenneth Grant. But if they took Genty, I wouldn't be upset about it, quite honestly.
I love it. NY Jets FL, thanks for the call. Compelling notes. I love you guys bringing all these fun ideas for future shows. That's for sure as well. Alan asked this earlier. I can't find the comment, but Paul, did I like Ifitu Melifonwu at Syracuse? He's a Detroit Lions defensive back. It's about to be a free agent. Absolutely, I did. Versatile, lanky, like his brother Obi Melifonwu, who blew up the NFL Combine a couple of years ago. I would love Ifitu Melifonwu. I got to interview him when I covered him here at Syracuse. I got to interview him a couple of times, so I love Ifitu. He's a super talented player. He's versatile. Obviously, AG defensive back, Melifonwu defensive back. There's a lot of there. I would love. It's not gonna if the Jets sign Melifonwu to the normal casual Jet fan, they're gonna be like, "Who the hell is this?" But I'm just telling you, that's going to be like the sneaky great signing for the New York Jets if they're able to lure him here, and I hope they can. There's a lot of connective tissue to make that happen, and I love my Syracuse guys. All right, let's get one more call in before we sign off and I run to the radio station. Johnny Boy graces us with his presence. What's up, Johnny?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. How are you, my friend?
Doing really well, man. It's an ugly day over here. It's raining.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I wanted to touch on something that you were talking about, and he said it multiple times now, like on different interviews. He keeps bringing up the Purcell's interaction with him and talking about, if you have a price on you, and if it makes sense, right?
That's so crazy. Yeah.
Is he kind of throwing like a subtle shot at the entire Jets roster that anybody essentially can go ahead and be traded? I don't care.
He said, obviously you just brought up the Parcells one where he was talking about himself, but I heard it because I was able to finally hear, I won't say we all, Aaron Glenn spoke at the podium like, hey, I'm introduced as a coach. He spoke at the desk where he was getting Q&As that were publicly live streamed. The interviews that a lot of people didn't see was what they call the media scrum. That's when Aaron Glenn is planted on the floor and hundreds of media members with mics and cameras all around him. That was not televised. But I was able to see that thanks to NewYorkJets.com. They just released it, the video of all the crazy ass people asking the questions. And in that group, he taught. I'm gonna butcher the words, but it goes to exactly what you said. Basically, everyone's on notice. Like everyone's on the hot seat. I'm not. That wasn't the words he used. I can't remember exactly, but basically that's what he meant. Is that everyone's under watch. Everyone is on notice to be. Because like I'm brand new here. We're evaluating the entire roster where everyone is. So I'm not sure if he, to your point, even if it came across this way, I'm not sure if it was a threat like, hey, everybody, mind your P's and Q's, grab your biscuits because shit's going down. But it certainly came off that way when he said it.
Because if he's saying it and it's coming out like that, and I'm the one thinking like that, that's good, man. We need it. We need to have these guys that are there, that are just cruising and whatnot, thinks everything is good, to get a fire lit under their what. Right. And it is what it is, man. I think I've said it. I think I've said it to you multiple times. For myself and with the player that I believe is untouchable is Garrett Wilson, and I would want to build around him. So if that's the message that he's putting out, I like it, bro. I love it. I love that he's gone ahead and told pretty much the media to like stop asking me these dumb questions, and you continue to keep asking the same ones, but just in a different way to try to get me. Yeah. Right? It's awesome. So I just wanted to get your thoughts in regards to that. You think that he's really throwing like sauce? If you ain't tackling the way you're supposed to, I'm trading you and I'm getting somebody that was like my size 5'9" and blah 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 or whatever. Just even though I love Sauce and I think Sauce had a really, really great year last year, even though people don't believe that, but he did. If you look at the numbers and whatnot,
100%, the numbers tell a story. I would just say, like in that media scrum, AG was asked straight up about Sauce, and he talked about if there's any issues with him, we're going to fix them because he had to still finish the tape. I think AG, and because he's this 5'9" guy and he sees Sauce, which I'm sure if he could have constructed himself, he would have wanted to be the Sauce of 6'3" in length and all this other shit. I think the way he kind of had a gleam in his eye talking about Sauce, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's going to be falling in those waters, long story short. So I think it was kind of like a, hey, it's not like you go to prison and who's the biggest motherfucker, I'm going to punch him in the face and let everybody know what's up. But I think there is, what's the right way to say this? I think sometimes it gets overrated when a new coach comes in and they're not his guys. Like Darren Muji kind of talked about this, about the roster construction, saying, hey, good Jets are good Jets, man. I don't give a shit if I drafted them, signed them, or they're just here. Phenomenal. They're here. So let's see what happens. But I think I don't know if it's going to be Garrett Wilson sauce where those guys get jettisoned and he's like, I'm the big boss around here. I'm not sure I get that sense, but I think he's going to look at the whole shish kebab and make some big boy decisions because those are going to be coming.
100%, man. And imagine if he did something like that. I think that would be, I think the fan base would be so torn, man, if one of the, core guys of us gets touched and get the one that I believe, right? And I love him, bro. Like, I really do. I think he has so much potential. But Breece Hall, bro, if anything, man, the running back position was supposed to be, for at least for the Ravens, right? They had Derrick Henry. That was supposed to be the X factor that was going to get him over that hump. And it didn't happen, bro. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's intriguing. I love what he's doing. I love what he's saying, man. And keep it up. And that Wayne Corbett with Eric Allen interview talks about Aaron Glenn. It's a must watch. It is.
I got to check that out. That's the official Jets podcast. So good note there, Johnny Boy. Thanks for joining us. A couple of quick notes here. Philly Cup of Noodles just gifted a membership, baby. You just got gifted a Boy Green Coffee Club membership, and oh my goodness, do my eyes deceive me? Holy crap. $200 super chat. What the flying hoot is going on here? Wow. Oh my gosh. Good Lord. That's
Here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Oh my God. I believe our number one Austrian Jet fan just said hello. Much love to the Coffee Club with a $200 super chat. Holy friggin' crap. Wow. Oh my goodness. And number one Austrian Jet fan confirmed that he did it via a co-account. Different name, BG, it's me. Salute to our number one Austrian Jet fan. We will do some calculations behind the scenes. Number one Austrian Jet fan, you just won that emoji. So please reach out to me where we have, communication via Discord. So let me know who you'd love to gift that emoji to. And one lucky person is getting gifted an emoji. Plus, of course, obviously, number one Austrian Jet fan, this will be added to your historic total for the raffle. Again, we'll give one more shout out. Again, number one Austrian, I'm speechless. I am without speech. This is a generous donation of nobody's business. Thank you so much, pal. This helps, keeps the lights on, and so much more. And it fires me up, man. I'm not in this for the money, but it's just so cool that we're able to do all these awesome interviews. Rich Cimini this week, Jeremy Fowler, Lindsey Rhodes. We're going to also, here's a surprise drop with a super chat like this. How can I not? We'll be joined by, over the weekend, NFL insider Josina Anderson. She was on the pulse of every Jets hire, from their GM, their head coach, their staff. She was on it before anyone else. Another gift to you, the fans. Josina Anderson this weekend. We're going to have a long-ass conversation, so carve out the time for that. Again, shout out to our number one Austrian Jet fan. Good friggin' Lord. Wow. So, let me know. Holy friggin' crap. This is, wow. Wow. You only live once, Austrian Jet fan says. So, boom, shakalaka. All right. Well, I desperately have to get to the radio show, but our number one Australian Jet fan, salute. And again, one more message shout out. If you want to get in our giveaway for a Nike Atmosphere Aaron Rodgers jersey, a $50 Boy Green Merch Shop gift card, and the license plate combination, you just have to gift memberships people or buy your own membership to the Boy Green Coffee Club. There's no limit to raffle tickets. Again, it's going to be going live through the rest of today. Your next opportunity is we'll be on live with Jake Asman. It'll be cross-streaming on both channels. So if you gift Boy Green Coffee Club memberships or send in super chats, that'll be your last chance to get raffle tickets in. We'll be gifting away that prize pack tomorrow morning live on Boy Green Daily. Again, shout out to our number one Austrian Jet fan for a historic donation of epic proportions, and one lucky person will be getting that emoji specially from our number one Austrian Jet fan. And we'll keep the dope interviews coming, number one Austrian Jet fan. That's my promise to you. I'll make sure off camera there, we're doing all the calculations to make sure you get all your raffle tickets necessary. But God bless everybody. Like the video, hit subscribe, and we will see you coming up at 4 o'clock with Jake Asman. Thanks, everybody. Holy